Arsenal welcome PSV to Emirates Stadium on Wednesday, and Mikel Arteta has provided the latest injury news ahead of the Champions League tie. Mikel Arteta has provided the latest Arsenal injury news ahead of the club's Champions League clash with PSV, with Gabriel Martinelli in contention to start. Arsenal welcome the Dutch side to Emirates Stadium, knowing they have all but secured their passage to the quarter-finals of the competition. The Gunners ran out 7-1 winners last week, thanks to Jurrien Timber, Ethan Nwaneri, Mikel Merino, Leandro Trossard, Ricardo Calafiori, and a Martin Odegaard double. One player who missed the clash was Gabriel Martinelli, but the Brazilian made his comeback from a hamstring injury on Sunday in the 1-1 draw with Manchester United. The 23-year-old picked up the injury at the start of February, but came through the game at United unscathed and could be in line to start against PSV on Wednesday. Speaking to the media on Tuesday, Arteta said, "Yeah, everybody finished the game against Manatee with no issues, so I expect the same players to be available, and Gabby for sure will be available as well." Martinelli replaced Nwaneri on the right wing at Old Trafford at the weekend and looked sharp. Raheem Sterling, Trossard and Nwaneri have been Arteta's only senior forwards available in recent weeks, while Merino has been deployed as an emergency striker. With Arsenal in such a commanding position going into the second leg, Arteta is understandably excited about potentially going as far as possible in the competition. "It's a competition that we have a lot of enthusiasm, very consistent. Tomorrow can put us in exciting position," he said. Arteta also provided an update on Ben White, who has returned to the squad in recent weeks, but is yet to be given regular minutes. "Yeah, I think we have to manage him very well because he was still having some issues to manage in terms of the load, and we're very cautious of that to make sure that when he comes back, he can now maintain that level and there's no more setbacks. But I think he's in a good position now to give him a start," Arteta said. Meanwhile, Arsenal can make 8 changes for the UEFA Champions League second leg match with PSV Eindhoven after a 7-1 first leg scoreline. This is a very strange game for Arsenal, who take on PSV Eindhoven, having amassed a 6-goal buffer from the first leg away in the Netherlands. The Gunners have also been able to give Mikel Arteta an opportunity to rotate the team. Should Arsenal win the weekend's Premier League clash against Chelsea, it effectively wraps up Champions League qualification for next season by putting a 9-point gap between them and the Blues. There are some players who have returned from injury who also need minutes to build back that match readiness. But at the same time, Arteta cannot go too lax with the selection. He still needs to get the result and find a way to win the game to keep the momentum up and the positivity flowing, which right now is a big challenge. It is still a chance, however, to try some new solutions to ongoing problems. "I did think about starting Neto in this game, but I believe the consistency of David Raya will be important for the Gunners. His performance at the weekend was mixed, but in the end, he proved why this season he has arguably been the league's best goalkeeper." In defence, Ben White starts at right back for the first time since he underwent knee surgery last year. He has been missed massively in this team and now finds himself in with a chance of making a big impact to the end of the season. William Saliba adds the consistency, but Gabriel Magalhaes does get a break, allowing Jakub Kiwior to come into the team for some valuable minutes. At left back is Kieran Tierney, who has gradually become an option for Arteta to add something different down the left-hand side. Into midfield, and Mikel Merino returns to his normal position, having struggled to start up top after the major injury crisis through the side. Jorginho joins him, an experienced and calm presence to help the Spaniard. Ethan Nwaneri then starts in the Martin Odegaard role, with the captain offered some respite following yet more hyperbolic scrutiny from some sections of the fan base. Then we move to the forward line. Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Martinelli start in the wide positions. Leandro Trossard has been playing pretty much every game and is in need of rest too. The starting pair need exposure for different reasons. The Brazilian far more so as he continues his recovery from a hamstring injury. Lastly is Ricardo Calafiori, the wildcard pick and another different option for Arteta as a centre forward. His goal in the first leg has convinced me that in a desperate time, he could be the desperate measure to bring something different to the side. Changed Arsenal Kempswims versus PSV, Raya, White, Saliba, Kiwior, Tierney, Jorginho, Merino, Nwaneri, Martinelli, Calafiori, Sterling. In other related news, William Saliba has responded to questions on his future ahead of Arsenal's clash with PSV Eindhoven. William Saliba spoke to the media ahead of Arsenal's clash with PSV Eindhoven in the UEFA Champions League. The Frenchman started the first leg of the 7-1 win over the Dutch side and could yet feature in the second, as Mikel Arteta looks to secure a comfortable progression to Madrid. Speaking of which, Real Madrid have been heavily linked with a move for William Saliba. Their defensive options are ageing, and they are known to be long-term admirers of the former Saint-Etienne youngster. With the opportunity to hear from him, it was put to the 23-year-old by Football London what the latest regarding his contract situation is. His current deal expires at the end of the 2025/26 campaign. It was a very easy response from the defender. For me, I'm really happy here. I've been here for 2 years and a half as well. There is nothing. I'm happy here and I want to continue here. Asked whether talks had started on a new contract, he said, "Not yet, because there is some years left, so there is no rush at the minute. I'm happy here, that's it." Now that needs to be shown, of course, in the form of a new contract. There will be talks, of course, but he made reference to enjoying his time here and being a fan of the club when he was younger. "Yeah, of course I want to win big things with Arsenal. If you love this club and it didn't mean anything, of course I want to win big things here." Saliba has the chance to play against Real Madrid now in the quarter-finals of the Champions League should both clubs progress past PSV and Atletico Madrid, respectively. Moving forward, preparations for the 2025/26 season are well underway at Arsenal, with murmurs of a major squad overhaul on the cards. Injuries and inconsistency have plagued the Gunners throughout the current campaign, and Sunday's 1-1 draw with Manchester United all but ended their faint Premier League title hopes. With Liverpool now 15 points clear at the top, they're still in the hunt for Champions League glory, but with their domestic season effectively over, some of their focus appears to be shifting towards an impending summer rebuild. Arsenal's need for a centre-forward is no secret, and it's understood they're also in the market for wingers and centre midfielders. But in order to bring them in, they'll need to free up both funds and space within the squad, which means several first-teamers are now facing the chop. According to various reports, Alexander Zinchenko, Jorginho, Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney are all expected to leave the club this summer, with Arsenal eager to build a transfer war chest for manager Mikel Arteta. Collectively, the quartet is valued at £55 million, according to Transfermarkt. However, with 3 of them out of contract this summer, the Gunners are unlikely to fetch that amount. Partey, whose deal is up at the end of the season, is the only one of the 4 getting regular game time. But the Ghanaian is also one of the club's highest paid players, earning a reported £200,000 per week, and will be 32 in June. Jorginho, who has also entered the final few months of his contract, has been used sparingly in the league this season, with the arrival of Mikel Merino pushing him down the pecking order. This, coupled with the expected summer addition of Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi, means it might be best for all concerned if the former Chelsea ace moves on. Zinchenko, meanwhile, has fallen out of favour following Riccardo Calafiore's move to the Emirates Stadium. Granted, the Italian defender has spent a large chunk of the season out injured, but Arteta has largely favoured Jurrien Timber as his primary backup option at left-back. Several clubs were eyeing Zinchenko up in the January transfer window, with the likes of Borussia Dortmund and Atletico Madrid among those interested, but the Ukrainian 28 ultimately opted to stay put. However, a summer exit looks fairly certain, with Arsenal reportedly setting an asking price of around £17 million. Tierney is in the same boat as Zinchenko, with the Scotland international barely getting a look in at left-back. The 27-year-old's contract is up in the summer, and a return to former club Celtic is reportedly on the cards. In terms of additions, Arsenal are desperate to land a striker, with both Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus failing to impress in front of goal. The likes of Benjamin Sesko, Victor Gyökeres, Alexander Isak and Victor Osimhen have all been linked, as have alternative options such as Liam Delap, Ollie Watkins and Lautaro Martinez. As for wingers, Arteta's number 1 target remains Nico Williams, though he isn't his only admirer, with Barcelona, Liverpool and Real Madrid also eyeing the Spain international. Elsewhere, Brian Mbeumo, Antoine Semenyo and Ademola Lookman are all being monitored.